Hey, what's up everyone? Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Here we update of the NG Blade Inquisitor in Path of Exile 1, Secret of the Atlas. So a couple more days has gone by since last and we now entered phase 2, you could say, of the build. Around 2 to 3 device worth of gear as of now. So it's still very early on in the gearing process here. But I figured it would be nice here to share the progression and that it's still quite strong even on just a low budget. If you do and want to try it out, I just recently made a video on how you could league start with a Energy Blade build with under 10 chaos investment. I highly recommend to check it out if you want to try it out for yourself. The character is level 91 now and we got ourselves our last Ascendancy point, almost done with the Atlas as well, and we're farming T16 maps without any problem really, and been trying out some new bosses with no problem there either. A lot more tankier, and also the damage is pretty much doubled since the last video, and now we're just going to try and use the character up a bit more to make it just more powerful, right? And we are now at the point that we can just pour in tons of device to improve, which is the beauty of playing a attribute stacking build. Now, if you are unfamiliar with the basic of Energy Blade, let me just go over how it works here real quick. So we're using this skill called Energy Blade, and this basically gives a % of your maximum energy shield, and it will make a energy blade for us in our main hand here. So you basically want to get as much energy shield as you can, and then with Energy Blade, by playing the Inquisitor Ascendancy, we go with Instrument of Virtue, and this provides Battle Mage. Now, Battle Mage is really strong. You gain added spell damage equal to the damage of your main hand weapon. And this means that all of this flat damage that we get here will get transferred to our skill. But not only that, we're also using a Spell Blade support, which basically do the same here, but with some increased value here. 135% of the damage of a quit one-handed weapon. So it's basically double dips here and just providing a shit ton of flat spell damage, in this case lightning, right? And this will just add so much value to the skills. And the great thing with Energy Blade is that you can actually play like any skill basically with this. So you don't need to play a brand as I'm doing here. Now, however, we are using a Penance brand of Dissipation here, which is a really awesome and popular skill to use. Now, this is a transfigured gem, and basically what this does is you deal more damage with hits per energy after the first, and that's basically make it so each time you hit a enemy you will get a energy stack, you could say, which deal more damage, and this will just ramp up until you hit to 20 stacks maximum. So that's quite a bit of a more multiplier that we'll get here. You want to try and get some cost speed here. It basically make it so the brands hits faster and will make it so you get to max stacks a lot faster, right? Makes sense? Now let's take a look on how we get our energy shield and start to scale the damage here. And going to the items, we are starting with the key item here, the Ivory Tower. This is a really awesome item. You get some flat intelligence that we really need. We want as much attributes as we can, int and strength mainly. But the next part here, you get 30 of your maximum energy shield per 100 reserved life. So this build is reserving all of our life. We are going a blood magic build with this build as well here. So we are basically reserving all of our life here, and this will add a shit ton of flat energy shield, which will then get increased by all the intelligence that we have. Intelligence will give you energy shield, and then all the strength that we get for this character, we get our flat health. So it just scales up really well, and we also have that Ascendancy that we're going into a little bit later. But yeah, it's super awesome for this build, just synergize really well. Then we also have regen, 2% of energy shield per second, just some quality of life there. It's awesome. And then the next one there, chaos damage taken from mana before life. It doesn't apply to us because we are going blood magic, so we don't have any mana, so we can just ignore that. Now the next item is going to be Shepherd's Touch. You get 1 life per 4 dexterity, and you get 1% increased energy shield per 10 strength, and we're also getting 2% increased evasion per 10 intelligence, and these are the main attributes that we really want to look at. Just by getting a lot of attributes will just give us a lot of value from these gloves alone, which is awesome. And then for the next key item is going to be Rat Pith Globe, and this is also a super strong unique. You get increase to spell critical strike chance and also to increase spell damage per 100 of the player maximum life. So this doesn't matter if it's reserved or not. We at the moment have a 5.5k life. So that's 5% times 55 there, which is a ton of increased, and especially the increased spell damage there is really awesome. It adds up a lot to all of our flat damage that we get from the Energy Blade. Now, Crown of the Inward Eye is another really awesome item for this build. You get some increase to maximum life, mana, and global energy shield, and then you get a lot of flat value from the base alone here. You get a shit ton of armor and also a bit of energy shield here. Now the next one is going to be the Transfiguration of Soul, and this make it so increase and reduction to maximum energy shield also apply to spell damage at 30% of its value. So we do get quite a bit of increased spell damage here. You get a lot from all the intelligence that we have, but also we get some extra from the gloves here, which works really well. And just take a look here, we're at 900 intelligence here, and 5 intelligence is 1% of energy shield, so it's quite a bit of increase that we get from just stacking attributes, right? Just to give you a little bit more insight of that. Next one we're using Acendancy is just a very cheap unique to use for all attributes that we get from this. We also have Explosive Rune here as our Anoint. That's going to be to improve our brands a little bit. Brand critical strike multiplier here. We also get some increased brand attachment range, which helps with clear, and it's a very cheap one. It's a Amber Azure, so it's a low level oils to get this, which is also really awesome. Cyclopean Coil, another great item here. You have increased attributes on this. It's a percent increase. You get some flat life as well. You get increased damage per 5 of your lowest attributes. In this case, for me, it's going to be dexterity. Now you also get element immunities from here. You gain cannot be shocked if int is higher than strength. You gain can't get ignited if strength is higher than dexterity, and then you can't get frozen if dexterity is higher than int. So the one thing that we don't get here is the frozen one, and this is very useful because we do get it from Soul of the Brine King here. You get 100% chance to avoid being frozen, which basically mitigates all the elemental ailments here by using this belt and that Pantheon. Sintrake is also a really budget friendly boots here. You get some attributes here, dexterity and intelligence. The base alone gives you a lot of evasion and energy shield, and also the increased movement speed, and also so enemy cannot leech life from you, which is helpful. Now for the rings, I'm using two stone rings that for the elemental resist that the base provides here, and it might be different depending on how you build up your character, but for me I want to go for cold and lightning resist to get myself capped. And you want to get one with fractured attributes on it. You can go either intelligence or strength, and then the one that you don't get, you want to just start to spam that essence here, so you get both attributes on the item and just spam until you get something that suits you. For this one I got some increased cast speed, so I just went with that and made extra benchcraft for some extra life. And for the next one we have a fractured or elemental resist. That's just to make ourselves capped here, and yeah, you slam a essence whatever you want here. I went with strength because that's my lowest one, and I managed to get max life here as well, which is awesome. Now I also just want to point out here that you can actually use Intrinsic Catalyst here, and these will improve the attributes modifiers on both rings, amulets and belts. And I've been a little bit lazy here. I have been using them on the Acendancy here, so it's 20% more or increased attributes on this amulet here, but I haven't done it on the rings and also on the belt here, the increased attributes here. I'm probably going to wait until I get a perfect one before I start to invest on those catalysts, but that's a way to improve those attributes even more. Can be good to know. Now for the weapon we are using here, you can use any weapon that you like, but something that's nice to have is to have a weapon with Abyssal Socket on it. As the weapon will transform into an energy blade, right? You don't get the bonuses that you have on the weapon, however that Abyss socket do apply, and you can get some extra stats on here, like extra life, energy shield like I have here, or even critical strike multiplier, right, which is really nice to have. Now we can also take a look on our Yules that we are using to get ourselves capped resists here. I have one here with some fire and cold, also want to go for life, and also crit multiplier works as well. You have global crit multi, you have lightning and also elemental that you can choose from. On the other one I have here is also with the double resist. You have increased life and also some flat attributes as well. You can also get with increase to energy shield, works here also to scale that. Now lastly, and one of the most important Yules and pieces of this is going to be the Brutal Restraint. Now this is timeless Yule, and you want to get this with the Balbala on it. And what this does is it will give you the Traitor passive for one of those big nodes here. And yeah, this gives you Flasks gain 4 charges per empty flask slot every 5 seconds. So this is why we only have 2 flask slots. And this is really important because this basically makes us immune to, or not immune, but it makes it so we don't die or get one-shotted from chaos damage. And I'll go over it right now. Now, Coruscating Elixir, it's a ruby flask. You get some fire resist from this and also max fire resist from the ruby flask, right? But here you get chaos damage taken, does not bypass energy shield during effect. And this was preventing us to not get one hit when we take chaos damage, because we only have 100 life, right? And all that is reserved. All our life is reserved, so this is super important to basically stay alive. And with just 2 flasks up, this makes it so we can maintain it up all of the time without it ever going to drain out. Now it can be also important to note you do need a little bit of quality to be able to make it sustain. I think the cap is like 17 quality or something like that, but yeah, just go with 20, then you'll be safe and ready to go. Also, something too important to note, you do get some extra stats on your nodes here, the bigger ones. First one here, I got the increased evasion rating. The other one have increased effect of non-damage elements here. It will just improve shock a little bit, so we deal more damage, right? And we also have one here with increased flask charges gain. This is nothing that you need to be able to sustain your flask, so do keep that in mind. Now the number here do make it so the Yule itself provides different kinds of bonuses, right? And what you can do is you can actually go to POB if you are using it, and here at the downside you have find timeless Yule, and you want to go up here, you want to pick the one that we are using, Brutal Restraint for us for example, and change it to Balbala. And then you want to choose the node that you want to path from. For me, it's the Eldritch Battery one. It's the one up here. You want to go with filter. That's going to basically make it so it's only searching those notables that you are using, right? Otherwise, it will choose everything here. So that's important to note. You press this one and then you go down here, search for node, and here you can choose whatever you like to go for. One good one is going to be Onslaught for 8 seconds on kill. This just improves the clear speed, right? You get move speed, cast speed and attack speed from this, which is really awesome. But these can be quite expensive. So you put those that you want. You can also go for other ones, right? Maybe you want to get some extra life, for example, also. Press search, and here now is going to be all of them that you can possibly get. So we take this one for example. This one have both the onslaught and the maximum life. You can also change here if you really want to go for, you need at least one of them, then you just change the last point here to 1. You search again, and this is going to be all the combinations that you can get that will guarantee you with 1 of onslaught and also 1 with maximum life. You go here, you copy those, copy trade URL, and then you just take your web browser and copy paste, and this will then supply all of them that are available right now, and actually one pretty cheap, so you could probably snag that one. And yeah, you see the other ones are running down in prices, and yeah, this is how you find your Yules, and you could also add them to your build. Let's take that good one for example. It was 4455. Oh, let's go in again. 4455, so it's the first one. You can double click that, that will import it to the build basically, and then we need to find it over here, and here it is. So then you can choose this one, you can go back to the tree, and you can check out for yourself what it gives you. Now this will give you, this gives you increased effect of non-damage ailments, but now we also have the increased life there that we search for, and also here is the onslaught that we search for on this one. And yes, this is how you search for those and search or get your number that you really need here. Now we take a look on the flask here once again. The one that I'm using for my second flask is going to be a Quicksilver. You just get some increased move speed right from this. The important note here is to get increased duration to keep this up. I have not quality this up yet, but this helps it to sustain that right. But another point here is that the Quicksilver will not be up all of the time, but if you do get a enchant here with the use when charges reach full, is really helpful, and it's just getting up all the time when you are running around doing maps basically. Same going to be for your Coruscating Elixir, right? You want to get a enchant on it as well. Now here reused at the end of the flask effect is more helpful because it might be like a millisecond downtime sometimes that will make it disable this if you are using one use when charges reach full instead of this enchant. So that's why it's recommended that you use this enchant for the Ruby Flask, and just make sure that you have to enable the flask each time you enter a new instance. Now, however, here is another one that you can actually use, and this is going to be a Bismuth Flask. This gives you all elemental resist, which is a great option to use when you are really going to start to mid-maxing. When you are changing out to rings, for example, and you will lose all that resist, this flask really helps to cap your resist here. Now you can get extra resist as the suffix as well here, instead of the stun avoidance that I recently have here, but that's something that you can take in consideration to use, like for boss for example. They don't maybe need that extra mobility right or the extra movement speed from the flask, and you rather just use this instead. Now another thing that's really nice here is currently we are capped on our resist, right? And if we were to use this, however, would be up all of the time. It lasts quite a bit extra than the Quicksilver here, so this is actually permanent resist that you get from this. And this will take me to the next point of this, and that's going to be the auras. Now the auras is really awesome for the build, right? You need to reserve your life to get your shield right, and that's with auras. Now we have some here, some different ones. Discipline is giving you energy shield, right? We are using Grace, which will give you evasion, and overall this build right now has quite a bit of evasion. We have 14k right now, which is super awesome for the build. We also have quite a bit of armor actually. It's quite defensive. But yeah, we're using Grace to keep our defensives up a little bit. You get Vitality, which gives you life regen, which will apply to Energy Shield, which will go over just in a sec here. Energy Speed is up, Precision, just for some extra critical strike chance. And then we're also using Tempest Shield. Tempest Shield gives you some block for spell damage. So we have a little bit of block here, 25 from attacks and 35 from block spell, which is also adding up a little bit, right? So you don't take a block, basically mitigates all the damage, right, that you take. So just adds up a little bit there with evasion, right? But then we're also using Purity of Element. Now this is the lazy thing, and that's the one great thing, because you can just use a Purity of Element, you get that flat resist, right? All elemental resist 33%, and you also get the immunity for elemental ailments, but that's something that we don't really need. I went over it before, right? You get from the belt and from the Pantheon. But the extra flat all elemental resist you get here from this is really helpful. Now, if we were using Bismuth Flask here, you can actually remove that one, right? And that's open up another slot that you can add to another aura, right? You can get the Wrath, for example. It's just more multiplier for lightning damage. You can get Zealotry if you like to. That's just more spell damage, and it's increase to crit, right? Or if you want to go more defense, you can just slam in a determination, right, for more armor, for example. The choice is yours, but I want to highlight the flask here that you can change it, and that will basically make you able to put another aura in. But for now, I'm just mapping and running around. Quicksilver works fine. I'm using my Purity of Element to sustain my elemental resist. And one extra thing to note with auras here is that you want to reserve as much life as you can and still be able to use your skills, right? So the lower you can get, under 100 is where you want to go for. I will probably get there when I get my last levels for vitality and also precision, right? But that's really something that you want to aim for, and you can use other auras to get there. But yeah. Just try to get as much reserved life as you can, while still be able to use your skills, basically. Now, taking a look on the passive skill tree, we are a little bit all around here, basically on this skill tree. Now, let's start by going down here. Iron Will, Strength. Damage bonus applies to all spell damage as well. Usually strength provides you with melee physical damage. Melee physical damage now gets to spell damage instead from this, which is awesome. Now something that's really good for this is to use Eternal Youth combined with Sealed Oath. Now basically what it does is Eternal Youth makes it so energy shield recharge instead applies to life, so that recharge that you have will then goes to life instead. And so you see here we have like 2.7k life recharge. That's a hard word. And yeah, that's make it so when we are using skills, we can use skills all the time. You see the life will hop up and down here, and we will just basically be able to maintain this all the time, and we don't have to worry about anything. That's what makes this possible to use. Now, Seal of Oath makes it so life regen now is applied to energy shield instead. And we do get some energy shield, right? We get from our golems when we have it. It's like 100 from this. We get from vitality as well here. It is, however, halved, I think it is, from Eternal Youth. So that's something. But yeah, we do get quite a bit here. You can scale this with percent life regen as well, right? We also get some energy shield regen from here as well. But yeah, this adds up a little bit. But these two combined is what makes it so you are able to just basically spam your skills however you like, and you don't have to worry about the cost anymore from that. As long as you don't reserve too much life under, I think this is the... As long as you don't reserve your life more than 70 life, so you are still able to use your skills, right? Just keep that in mind. Now we are a brand skill, right? We are using Rune Binder as well as the last time. We have this wheel right here, and we are pathing here. We're using crit, right? You want to pick up those. I went over the anoint here, explosive runes. We are also low life. Low life is when you have 50% of your life. We are reserving all of it, so we are under 50%. But Pain Attunement gives you 30% more spell damage when on low life. We are picking up all these hybrid life and energy shield nodes. We have one over here as well. We are picking up these nodes right now. It gives you some increased effect of your auras, and also that 8% mana reservation is quite helpful. We are using the crit ones here, and also got some energy leech here, and this also helps us to sustain our energy shield right when our mapping. And we're picking up these nodes here. It's flat int with percent int, which is great. We have some more hybrid nodes right here. We have two more here we can pick later on. Here, however, is a really nice one, Soul Thief. This gives you some increased evasion rating, increased maximum energy shield, but you also get 2% energy shield on kill, which is really nice when we are mapping, right, to sustain that. And we're also going for the mastery here. We get increased evasion rating per 5 intelligence, and this basically makes it so But dexterity provides no inherent bonuses to evasion, so intelligence is the new dexterity by using this basically. As we have so much intelligence and basically no dexterity, we gain quite a bit of increase by using this to scale up our defense up, right? Great for just 1 point. Going this right here, getting some crit, getting some life and attributes, but also down here it's cast speed. Cast speed is really awesome, right? I mentioned it earlier. Cast speed makes it so you deal, your brands deal or hit faster. You also get some attributes from yourself as well, which is nice. And we are pathing down this way here. I'm picking up some extra life as we go here. Blood magic, important round. You do need blood magic, so this is one of the first points that you want to aim for. And then we have this wheel here. It's just flat strength with increased strength. Great to scale our attributes, right? I'm probably picking up a mastery here. The next one is probably going to be either +5 to strength per allocated mastery or increased damage per 5 of your lowest. Either of them would probably be fine. I think the flat attribute is, however, a lot better. Even though you lose maybe a little bit of damage, you do get so much more from the attribute itself, like defense as well, right? So that's probably what I'm going for there. Now we take a look on our Ascendancy. Instrument of Virtue we went over before. You get the Battle Mage, added spell damage equal to the damage of your main hand. You also get more attack damage from this. Now we also went with Righteous Providence. Righteous Providence is one of those great nodes for Inquisitor. You get flat strength and intelligence, but now you also get increased critical strikes per point of strength or intelligence, whatever is lowest. Now this character have quite a bit of attributes right now. We have 900 int and 770 strength. So this node here makes it so we get 770 increase to critical strike chance, which is just insane. Really strong node to use. And it's super awesome all around. The next one, Inevitable Judgment. Critical strikes ignore enemy monster elemental resist. And this basically makes it so you don't have to worry about lowering monster elements, right, to deal more damage. Curses, for example, that's nothing that you really want to use. You also have things like Exposure that you don't need when you are using this node here. We are almost at 80% right now, and that's going to be without Assassin's Mark. Assassin's Mark provides flat 1.5% to increase critical strike chance, so you are almost crit capped with this, which basically makes it so we always crit, right? So it's this is basically always up, and it's a huge point for this build and this Ascendancy all around. It's basically doubling the damage by using this node alone. Now the last point. Here we went with Augury of Patience. Nearby enemies take 60% increased elemental damage, and we also take less damage or less elemental damage from enemies. Last time I talked a little bit about Instrument of Seal, and this gives you more cast speed, and something that I didn't know is that more cast speed doesn't apply to brands. Now it's only when it says increase it to apply to brands, so if you are using brands, don't use this. This only would work if you are self-casting basically, and yeah, just ignore this one if you are using brands and just go with Augury instead. Now let's take a look on the links here that we are using. We're using Penance brand with Spellblade support. We're also using faster casting, and we have a cruelty support. And the reason is that it can be really hard to get all blue links here. So we're using a cruelty support right now. It gives you some extra, just a more damage multiplier with hits, right? And then also with increased critical damage support. Now if you do manage to get a blue socket here, you can just go with the Conk effect, for example, for more damage, right? Or you can go with the increased critical strike chance as well, if you feel that you lack of crit strike. The choice is up to you. I'm also using a punishment right now, curse, for just some increased damage while on low health on the enemy there is. And then we also have Assassin's Mark as our curse. We went over it a little bit earlier. We get the flat crit strike from this and also a crit damage multiplier, which is awesome. Vitality for the regen. we are using Precision for the crit chance. We have a Animate Guardian with minion life and also summon Stone Golem. And I'll go over the Animate Guardian in a bit here. Discipline for Energy Shield. We have Tempest Shield for the block spell damage. Flame Dash just for an instant mobility skill. We're using Shield Charge with faster attacks. And also we have Grace, Energy Blade. We have a cost on death with Porter right now. Could probably remove that right now because we are not dying anything basically. And we have a Purity of Elements with Eternal Blessing support. You can have any aura that you like here, but Eternal Blessing support, what it does is it makes the aura a blessing, and the blessing will then disable all auras that reserve a mana. And because we don't have any mana, because we are going blood magic, this is basically providing us a free aura by using this, which is great. Now for the Animate Guardian, we haven't changed anything yet as of the last video, and it's basically just a standard starter Animate Guardian buff unit, right? But yeah, we're using Leer Cost. Leer Cost provides a 50% increased damage to nearby allies. We're also using Dying Breath. Here we also get increased damage. We get some effect with auras and curses and stuff like that, just improving our character basically by using this. Soul Bound is another item that we are using. It provides increased maximum life, and that's going to improve the Animate Guardian, right? And then we're also using Blood Bound. This is just a very cheap, unique item that provides some regen life that will apply to the Animate Guardian. And also minions have increased maximum life with the increased maximum life, which will also apply to the Animate Guardian, just buffing it a little bit. And then for the boot, just a random elemental resist boosts and the chaos if you can to get those resists up on it. Lastly, taking a look on our mercenary, same here, nothing has really changed except for one item, and that's going to be the gloves that we are using. We now have a small chance of underwaving enemies for 4 seconds on hit, and that's just 10% increased spell damage from that buff. But other than that, we're using the same here. Let's go over them again. Perkin Toe, the most important one here. Nearby allies damage with hit is lucky, and this basically makes it so it will take the bigger hit, right? And it's especially good for this build because we are using lightning damage. Lightning damage has a very low and very high damage, right? So what this makes, basically we will roll the dice twice and it will pick the bigger number when we deal damage, right? So it's a super awesome amulet for us by using here. And yeah, awesome. We're going over to the shield. We're using Victorious Charity, and this gives us a small chance, a 5% chance to grant a frenzy charge to nearby allies on hit. Frenzy Charge is generated by this. This works really great because this merc is quite fast dealing attacks, and it's usually up actually all of the time. I say it's up quite a bit, and it's awesome. And yeah, free damage from that. I won't say no to that. We're using Immortal Flesh, a belt here, and this just provides a shit ton of flat life regen, right, to help the merc stay alive. Haven't changed the boots. Haven't really changed anything. The rings are still the same. Just some random helm I got. I got Blunderbore. I just put it in. It worked. Yeah, it's funny. It gives you the shrine buff, right? And they do apply to the merc. However, and then Moon Sorrow, it's just for adding extra blind on enemies on hit, basically. Kinetic Strike is just basically everywhere from this merc, and yeah, we'll try and make this stronger, right? Finding out some different combinations, and please share if you have some combinations that you really like to use and would be great for this maybe. Now another thing with the merc is going to be, we also get haste aura from this, which is really great, of course. We don't get the elements of weakness curse here. It doesn't really help anything from the Ascendancy, right? But the haste aura is awesome, right? You get movement speed, attack speed, and cost speed. And yeah, maybe other mercs works great as well, but haste is awesome. I went with this. and I actually managed to find a sniper with the double auras on it. I have grace and haste on this one, so I might actually change out a thing or two and try out this. I'm not sure yet, but yeah. The kinetic mercenary is awesome, and it actually clears a little bit also. The damage is quite good, even with just this kind of mid-level unique, you would say, right? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you found this video helpful, and I will put up a updated video when we have poured in some more currency into the build and maybe even try some new things out, right? I have some ideas I want to try out, and yeah, overall it's been awesome. The league start has been great, and I'm looking forward to trying out some new builds. If you have any other questions though, feel free to drop a comment and I'll try to answer them as soon as I can. And with that said, I'll see you in the next one. Bye!